Video P7 looks into the basics of converting between fractions, decimals and percentages, or FDP. So we need to be able to convert between fractions and decimals both ways, fractions and percentages both ways, and decimals and percentages both ways. And we will be looking at the methods of doing those with complicated fractions, decimals and percentages soon. But there are some that you can work on straight away based on your basic knowledge of fractions, decimals and percentages, and these are ones that you should try and remember if you can. So you've all had this sheet before, and we're going to go through this one part at a time. So on the front we've got several circles. Let's have a little look at the first section first of all. So for the first circle, if I colour that in, the entire thing, I would say the fraction is 1 whole. The decimal is 1.0. You don't need to put the 0.0 in, but here we're recognising that it has a decimal element of the 0.0, and then we've got 100%. For the second one, I'm going to put a line down the middle, and I'm going to shade in one of the sides. So we have 1/2, we have 0.5, and we've got 50%, as it's half of the original circle. For the next one, I've got a line down the middle and a line across. I'm going to shade this part in here. As a fraction, that would be 1/4. As a decimal, it's half of 0.5, which would be 0.25. And then as a percentage, it's half of 50%, as we've cut our half in half again. So it's 25%. And then finally, for this top section, I'm going to cut into 4 equal pieces again. I'm going to shade in 1, 2, 3, and that would give us 3/4. So as it's 3 times as big as 1/4, it's going to be 0.75 or 75%. So moving on to the 4 circles at the bottom, let's do something slightly different here. For the first one, I'm going to cut it in half down the middle, then cut it across into 4 equal pieces, and I'm going to carefully try and split each one. Oh, didn't do that one very well. Let's try that one again. Straight each one across the middle. If I were to colour in this piece here, the fraction would be 1/8. Now to work that out as a percentage, first of all, if 1/4 is 25%, this quarter has been cut in half, so a half of 25 would be 12.5%. It would also be half of 0.25, which is 0.125. You may see the link between these two. They've all got the same digits, a 1 and a 2 and a 5 in order, but to get from the decimal to the percentage, you have to times by 100. To go the other way, if you wanted to go from the percentage to the decimal, then you divide by 100, but you can definitely see the link between the digits there. So for the next one, we're going to pop a line down the middle and a line across and divide again into 8 equal pieces. I'm going to shade in 1, then I'm going to shade in a second one. Now that's the same as 1/4, so I'm not going to stop there. I'm going to shade in 3 to give me 3/8. Now if I take my 12.5% and I times it by 3, I will get 37.5%, and it will also give me a decimal of 0.375. Next one, again, cut into 8 individual pieces. I'm going to shade in 1, 2, 3. I'm not going to stop at 4 because that's the same as a half, and I already know what that's equivalent to. So I'm going to go for 5. So we've got 5/8. Now to work out the percentage, we will do 12.5% times 5, and that will give me 62.5% altogether. And as a decimal, that would be 0.625. The final one on this page, let's split again into 8 equal pieces. I'm going to shade in the 5 I've already got shaded in the last one. If I go to shade in 6, you'll notice that's the same as 3/4, and we already know the equivalent of that. So let's go one more and let's shade in 7/8. Okay, so for this one, we times our 12.5%, which would be 1/8, by 7, and we'll get 87.5% altogether, or 0.875. Now, when you look at these equivalences, there are some that it's essential to know. I'll go round those in a different colour. Let's go for red. Or actually, no, I'll tell you what, I'll put stars next to them. So the first one, you need to know that 1 whole is 1.0 or 100%. You need to know the half equivalences. You need to know the quarter equivalences. You don't need to know 3/4, though it's quite basic, because you can just take your quarter and times it by 3. When it comes to the eighth ones that we've just done, if you can just remember that 1/8 is 0.125 or 12.5%, then all you need to do is you're multiplying to find out 3/8, 5/8, or 7/8.